So two of the biggest questions when it comes to GTA 6 is where and when is it coming out? And based on two very promising leaks from Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar Games themselves, everything points to GTA fans returning to Vice City in the next installment to the Grand Theft Auto series. And normally when it comes to these GTA 6 leaks, y'all know that I'm very transparent and most of them are fake, and I don't hesitate to tell you. But this one, I believe, is the third real GTA 6 leak that we got, based on a few things. Just the simple fact that it's not too overly detailed, it comes from a verified source. And if you take a look at a lot of the fake leaks, a lot of it is super overly detailed Reddit leaks from an account that was made the day before and then it disappears. So this is actually quite the opposite of all that. So just a few days ago, a Synthwave artist tweeted out on his group Twitter page called VectorHold, and it read, GTA 6 will most likely take place in Vice City. Music rights clearing people have been hitting up Synthwave artists for a radio station. Now, since then, that tweet has actually been deleted, and there's a couple possibilities as to why. But before we discuss this, let's actually take a look at who VectorHold and this group is. So prior to this, I hadn't actually heard of VectorHold, but I'll tell you there's 2 decades in history that I'm overly obsessed with. The 1950s, the vehicles, the colors, the architecture, and the 1980s. For the same reason, except this time they had really cool music. So this is actually right up my alley because VectorHold is a new retro 80s synthwave project by Peter Brian Rice from the San Francisco Bay Area, specializing in sound design and production for 80s and 90s retro gaming soundtracks, film scoring. And that description right there comes straight from the VectorHold website, which you can check out. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. Now, this is super cool to me, especially being that they have a spot in the gaming world creating cool soundtracks. The game I'm playing in the background, for instance, is called Neon Drive, and it's from 2015, and VectorHold soundtracks would fit this perfectly, as this game is just a whole synthwave vibe. That's why I decided to use this gameplay instead of just some normal GTA. So, based on this group's credibility with a verified website and their description being relevant to video games, I feel like the probability of this leak having some sort of credibility is higher than if it was just a random tweet from a random account or a random Reddit account that was just created. This tweet and what this group does also coincides with leaks that GTA 6 might possibly take place in an 80s rendition of Vice City once again, but also in the present day as well. And as we all know, in the 80s, synthwave, futuristic type stuff like this was very popular, or at least in 80s modern media pop culture. So I think we can all agree that GTA 6 will most likely return to Vice City, as it's the only main GTA location aside from San Fierro and Las Venturas, which aren't main locations, to be remastered in the HD universe. And this would make it the third leak to actually claim this, and the first two are verified. One comes from a Rockstar Games insider in March 2018 that detailed that GTA 6 is codenamed Project Americas. It'll take place in Vice City, but also in South America. Now, the second leak came from a Take-Two document in October 2009, where Take-Two was actually scouting business interiors in Miami, and we know that Miami, or Vice City is traditionally based on real-life Miami, and like I said, that happened in October 2019, and that was verified as well. So, going back to this tweet, and the claim that GTA 6 will most likely take place in Vice City, probably has to do with either VectorHold or someone close to VectorHold in the synthwave community being contacted by Rockstar Games regarding a radio station. And Rockstar is generally pretty discreet on how they work, so if they reached out, they would probably say something along the lines of, hey, I'm a manager for an unnamed digital media company, and this company is looking for tracks for a synthwave-themed radio station for an unnamed project. And that's basically what would be going on there, and my guess is that the synthwave community is pretty tight-knit. So this probably spread very quickly throughout their community, and then this tweet got picked up by people in the GTA community, and then us vulture YouTubers picked it up, us evil YouTubers, and now we're talking about it and spreading misinformation. So now that I mentioned how the tweet was deleted, there's probably a couple possibilities as to why, but being that it was deleted so quickly, raises the probability that this is probably real. And there's a couple reasons why it was probably deleted. Number one that I could think of is that Take-Two reached out and told him to take this tweet down, as if he was working with Rockstar and Take-Two, he would have had to sign an NDA to where he can't talk about anything. So if he signed an NDA, I don't think he would be posting this. So that brings up the second theory, and that is that somebody else in this community is working with Rockstar Games. They told a couple people about this. That spread around the community. This guy tweeted about it. Then he removed it so that no one else would get in trouble. He was probably asked to take that down. My third theory is that his tweet started getting lots of attention, and he didn't want to spread any misinformation or get himself or anyone else into any kind of legal trouble, so the tweet was deleted. So my guess is that this is real, and I'm not one to believe this kind of stuff, but there's a lot of facts backing this up and just a lot of different things like deleting that tweet. And because of that, it kind of gives us a look into the development window and how far along GTA 6 might actually be in the development cycle. So, according to various leakers in the GTA community, GTA 6 as of late 2019 and early 2020 was 60 to 70% complete. And when that interior scout leaked in late 2009, I did some digging, and it turns out that interiors are done around that 60 to 70% point of a game's developmental cycle, as you've got to have a city built around these interiors before you can start building interiors. Well, the same actually applies to music. That would be one of the last things to add into a game. So I predict that GTA 6 is probably still minimum 2 years away, sadly. That sucks. And we're probably looking at an early to mid-2022 release date, give or take a couple delays, which is typical of Rockstar Games. So, if we actually take a look at the music from previous Grand Theft Auto games, it can actually back this claim up. So, for instance, in 2007, 1 year before Grand Theft Auto 4 released, Rockstar Games had a promotional public contest where anybody could call in to a pretend radio station, and the person who left the funniest comment, basically, would win. Well, unbeknownst to GTA fans, the winners of this contest audio was used on in-game radio stations in GTA 4, and it was made to sound like these people were just calling in the radio stations. And, like I said, that was in 2007, 1 year before GTA 4 released. So, Rockstar was just kind of finishing up the radio stations a year before GTA 4 came out. Well, in GTA 5, that same principle applies, because when GTA 5 released in 2013, a lot of the songs on the radio were relatively new at the time, and obviously there's a couple of reasons why. Rockstar wants fans to be connected with the radio station. They want it to be modern like in real life, but also it could just be because radio stations are kind of one of the last things done. So one of the newest songs in GTA 5, when it released in 2013, had come out only in July 2013, just 2 months before the game dropped. Another one of those songs was Real One by YG, which released about 6 months before GTA 5, and that other song was called Say That Then by Problem, and like I said, that dropped only 2 months before GTA 5 released. Now, I'm no expert, I've never developed or made a video game, but based on the evidence from previous GTA games and how the radio stations work, it does seem like this would be one of the last things to do during the developmental cycle of a game. After that, it would just be finishing up little stuff and then polishing it up for a release. So, that said, that's kind of all the information that we have regarding this GTA 6 radio station leak, and personally, I think this is real, and that's coming from me. And if you watch all like 30 GTA 6 videos that I've ever made, most of the time I say that this is fake. 99% of the time I say the stuff is fake, but this one right here is one of those leaks that it's not too detailed, it's very short and discreet, and that's it. So I think this is real. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next video.